Hello, how are you all? I hope you all are doing good. So, this is our awesome team which you can see here, right? And these are the courses that we are offering on our YouTube channel of Talking Textbooks, that is 6 to 8 Olympiads, NTSC, NSCJS, PRM, all this we'll be covering, 6 to 10 school level examinations. So, you can have different study material as well, and how you can have on our uh, website, that is www.talkingtextbooks.in, that you can have it there, right children? And see, this is a certain example of a package which is of 9,000 rupees, and this could get to 6,300 if you apply my code AV Live, right? So if you apply my code AV Live, it will go to 6,300. And see, study material would be of it will be of science and maths both, right? So all of that material in just 6,300, and then you can pay through any mode that you feel like. And children, important is that this is just a package of which comprises of study material, test series and everything. And if you do not require study material, and if you just want the test series, that also you can have on our website itself. For more information, you can contact on this number 9549041111. You can contact on this number, and you can have your queries answered. These are the Telegram channel. These are our Telegram channel. You can join our respective class, right? In whichever class you are, you can join there and get the DPPs of the current topic, whichever is going on. So before starting the lecture 3, please take the promise, and then we'll start with lecture 3 here. So today we'll be doing what? This all we have already done. Fractions and all this we already completed. Today we'll be doing what? The questions related to square and square roots. We'll be doing few questions related to square and square roots, and cube and cube roots, and factors and multiples. We'll be doing that. Right children? So the question is, what is the question? The question says, is 336 a perfect square? Is 336 a perfect square? This we want to know, right? Whether this is a perfect square or not. So let's see whether this is a perfect square or not. So how can you calculate? Very simple. You will take the LCM of it, 168. Then it is 2 se again you will divide, which becomes what? 84. Again you will divide by 2, which becomes what? 42. Then you will again divide by 2, which gives us what? 21. Then you divide by 3, 7, and 7 and 1. Now we will be making pairs of it because we want the perfect square. So from this pair we can have 1, 2. From this pair we can have another 2, and like 3 and 7 are left alone. So that means the 336 is not a perfect square. It is not a perfect square. Let me take one more example. So what does the question says? It says, find the smallest number. It says find the smallest number by which 180 must be multiplied, by which 180 must be multiplied, so that the product is a perfect square, right? So we are supposed to find that number, find the smallest number by which 180 must be multiplied so that the product is a perfect square. How can I do this? How can I see this? So obviously I'll divide 180, I'll do the prime factorization of 180, which will be 90, 45, right, 3, 15 times, then 3, 5, and 5 and 1. So now I can see the pairs forming. Here 2 is formed, here 3 is formed. So this is 2, this is 3, and 5 is left alone. So obviously find the smallest number by which 180 must be multiplied. So 180 should be multiplied by 5 so that the pair gets completed. The pair gets completed, and what will it become? See, if I multiply 180 by 5, what will I get? It will be 40 and 900. So 900 is a perfect square of 30. So my answer is correct here. That means 5 is the smallest number which is supposed to be multiplied. Right? Similarly, you can do for division as well. Let's do one more question. So, see, when numbers are so small, we can calculate through prime factorization, right? But if a number is big like this, let's say, if a number is something like this, 16160. Okay, so this is really big. So how can you calculate the square root of this number? By long division method, right? So what does long division method says? 16160. We'll start forming the pairs of it. From right side. This is one pair, this is another pair, and this is left alone. Now what we'll do, we are supposed to subtract it by the square of either equal or smaller number than this. So obviously it has to be 1. If I do square of 1, it will be 1 only, and subtract it. Now I am supposed to take both the numbers. This becomes 61, right? Like this is not a normal division where I was just taking single number, but I'll be taking both the numbers now. So this becomes 61. Now again I'll multiply for the next. This becomes my new dividend. Now. This is my new dividend. Right? This is my new dividend, and my new divisor is, what is my new divisor? I'm supposed to multiply this quotient with 2. Whatever quotient is there, I'm supposed to multiply it with 2, and that becomes my new divisor. Just a part of the new divisor, not the whole new divisor. So this is 2. Right? Now I am supposed to annex a number. This is just on the tens place. Now here on the ones place, I am supposed to annex such a number which when multiplied gives us either equal to or less than 61. So what that could be? So if I multiply 2, right, if I annex 2 here, if I add 2 here, so 2, 22, and I am supposed to multiply also with 2 itself. Whatever number I am writing on the units place, I am supposed to multiply with the same number. Right, so what do I get here? 2 2s are 4 and 44. Right, so my 44 is the number which I am supposed to subtract now. So that is now what? This is 4 and 7. This becomes what? This is 7, and this is what? 1. 17. 17 is not enough. 17 is very small, so I am supposed to do what? Now I'll make these two pairs also, means this pair also come down. So this becomes 60. Again, now this becomes my new dividend. This is my new dividend now. And what is my new divisor? Divisor would be multiplied by this quotient, whole quotient multiplied by 2. So that is whole quotient multiplied by 2 would become 24. So this becomes 24. Again, now number at units place. We do not know number at unit place. We are supposed to take such number which when we multiply, when we are going to multiply the same number by it, and then what do we get? Either we get something equal to 1760 or smaller than that. So let's do it. Let's say I do it by 7. Okay, so what does this give me? I'm going to write 7 also here also, because I'm multiplying with 7. Like whatever we multiply, we're supposed to write in the quotient part. So what does this give me? 1729. This gives me 1729. So basically the question was that whether this is a perfect square or not. Is this a perfect square perfect square or not? This we were supposed to find out. So let's see whether this is a perfect square or not. See, we have 31 here. Now there are no more points that we can no more digits which we can write down here. So what we'll do, either we can say that this is not a perfect square. Obviously this is not a perfect square, which is the final answer. So it is not a perfect square, not a perfect square. But if you still want to calculate, its if you still want to calculate that what could be the square root of this number, even if it is coming in points. So what we'll do, we'll write a point here and we'll write a point here as well, and then we are going to add 0 in pairs and then we can let this down here, we can add here, and then my new divisor would become what, 127 into 2, and then so on and so forth. You can just go forward with it and have the final square root which would come in the decimal form. Right children? Clear? Let's do one more question. Let me tell you a few more things. Where did my pen go? Here it is. So not a question, but more of a property, you can say, or not a property, an important note. And what is that? It is basically for something like this. See, root AB is equals to what? It can be written as root A into root B. Similarly, for the fraction A upon B, this can be written like this, root A upon root B. It could be written like this. Clear? It could be written like this. So let me take an example. If something like this is given, we are supposed to find the square root. Of 42,583 upon 1369. Right? We are supposed to find the square root of this. So this is in mixed fraction. We know this is in mixed fraction. So we are first going to change it into what? We will change it into a different color ink pen. Right? So this becomes what? 42,583 upon 1369. So this is my mixed fraction and I am going to convert it into improper fraction, right? We know that mixed fraction changes into improper fraction. So this becomes what? So we are supposed to calculate the square root of this, though it has taken a flight, but doesn't matter. Let's do it. Now I drew it straight. 5, 8. What if you're going to multiply and add it? What will it become? It will be 58,081 and divided by 1369 itself. Right? I can write it now since I have already shown it here. So root A by B, I can write it like this, root A upon root B. So I'll write it like in this manner only, 58081 upon root 1369. So I wrote it like this. Now you can calculate. See, 58081, nobody remembers the square root of this. So what you can do, like people do remember, but then it's okay. So what you can do, you can find the square root of this through long division method. Right? You can find the square root of this through long division method, and what will it be? It will be 241. The square root of 58,081 is 241, and square root of 1369 is 37. Right? So this is what? This is my square root. It can be changed into The square root of this is this. Also, if you want to change it into mixed fraction again, we can do that very easily. 619 upon 37. So the square root of this is this. Get it, children? Get it? Easy. Let's talk about cubes now. So what are cubes? Let me first change my ink color because I like doing that. Come on, chalo. So what are cubes basically? We'll talk about cube and cube roots. Clear? So what are cubes? Similar to squares, these are the numbers which are being multiplied by itself thrice. So if I am multiplying 4 into 4 into 4, so this gives me what? Cube. 64. So this 64 is a perfect cube. This is a perfect cube or a cube. Right? So this is a cube. Means when you are multiplying same number by itself thrice, then that becomes a cube. Clear, children? So let me write few cubes so that you will be able to understand. Acha, how do you find cube root? This is the cube. When you are multiplying same number by itself thrice, that gives you cube, right? Perfect cube. And what is cube root? Again the same reason that what is the root cause of cube. If I am writing 729, right? So what is the root cause of this? I'll explain this also. What is this? What symbol I made? So this is root cause of 729. What is the root cause of 729 being a cube root? That means a cube, perfect cube. So what is the root cause of it? Yeah, so cube root of 729 is what? It is 9. Means the root of this 729, why it is a perfect cube, why it is a cube, is this 9. Right? So what does this mean? This sign that I made is basically sign of cube root. Right? So 3. This 3 resembles what? This 3 tells us what? That a number is multiplied how many times? Like the pair should be, or the group should be made of triple group should be made. So how did I calculated this? Very simple. See, 729, and then let's start dividing it. So this becomes what? 3 2s are 6 and 7, 3 4s are 12 and 3 3s are 9. Again 4 and 3, 7 and 9. 3, not 6, 8 times. It will go 8 times. Control P. So this is 8 3s are 24 and 3 1s are 3. Now this will go 3 times. 3 7s are 21. Again it will go 3 times. 9. Again it will go 3 times and again 3 times. So now in this we are supposed to make triples. So here this is one triple, here this is one triple. Now I am going to take one number from this group and one number from this group, and I am going to multiply those, which is what? 3 into 3, which gives me what? 9. So method is same, right? What does this cube, when I am writing here cube, what does this mean? It means that 729 whole power 1 by 3. Even if I am writing this also, square root sign as well, if I am writing something like this means 64 to the power 1 by 2. This radical sign could be changed to 1 by 2. Similarly here, this cube root 3 could be changed to 1 by 3. Right, to the power 1 by 3. It means this. Right, so this could be written like this, that 9 cube and 1 by 3 and 3 gets cancelled, and so it is 9. right? Now important thing children, I want that you should write, let me only write it. See, cube of, just a second, cube of 1 is 1, cube of 2 is 8, cube of 3 is 27, cube of 4 64, 5 is 125, 6 is 216, 7 is 343, then 8 is 512, 9 is 729, and 10 is 1000. Right? You can write many more. You can write many more up till 20 or up till you want. Right? So now we'll study about the properties. By looking at these, we'll study about the properties. I'll write it here only in the starting. Properties of cubes. Properties of cubes. Right? So what does first property says? I'll tell you what does first property says. Property says this, that the cubes of all even natural numbers are even. Cubes of all even natural numbers are even, and of all odd natural numbers are odd. Clear children? This is very much seen, this can be very much seen here. See, 1 is odd and the cube is odd, 3 is odd and the cube of 3 is also odd, 5 is odd, 125 odd, 7 odd, its cube odd, 9. Right? And of even, 2 cube is 8, 4 cube is 64, 6 cube is 216. So I can see that the numbers, if they are even, then their cube is also even. If they are odd, then their cube is also odd. Right? Next important property is, what is the next important property? I hope I don't have to write the example here, I just showed it. So cubes of negative numbers. Cubes of negative numbers are always did I tell you about, I guess I did not tell you about the like property of square. Let me just tell it here somewhere. Right, I'll tell it here only with a different pen color, so it is remembered. So important property of squares is what? That I hope I must have told you, but still, squares of negative numbers is always, or I can say that squares of, not like this, squares of all real numbers. Squares of all real numbers are always positive. Always positive. This is an important thing. Why? If I am multiplying a negative number, let's say if I want to calculate the square of minus 7, what does this mean? Minus 7 into minus 7. Right? So 7 into 7 is 49, we know that. But the minus sign becomes what? Plus. Right? Similarly, let's say if I talk about minus 16 into minus 16. Right? Or if I say minus 16 square. Whatsoever number, if you want to take it out, not just about the negative numbers, but rational, fraction. Right? So it is always going to be what? Positive. So this becomes what? Positive 256, because this again 16 is being multiplied twice, and so negative into negative gives us positive. So this is always positive, right? Whereas this was an important thing to remember, children. Important thing to remember. And similarly, now we come back to cubes. Now cubes of negative numbers are always negative. They are always negative. Why so? Because again, a negative number is multiplied how many times? Negative times. See what I am doing. If I calculate minus 2 cube, so basically what I am doing, minus 2 into minus 2 into minus 2, right? I am doing this minus 2 into minus 2 into minus 2. This means what? See, cube of 2 is 8. But when I am multiplying minus 3 times, means odd number of times, whenever a negative number is multiplied odd number of times, then it is always negative. It is always negative, right? So this becomes negative. Clear, children? I hope the properties are clear now. Let's do few questions related to this. One more thing, one more important property. See, cubes of numbers ending with digits 1, 4, 5, 6 and 9 cubes of numbers ending with digits this are ending with, let me write it properly, much better way, ending in digits 1, 4, 5, 6 and 9, then their cubes. See, you will be able to understand. I'll explain it in the example. Cubes of numbers ending in digits 1, 4, 5, 6 and 9 are ending with 1, 4, 5, 6 and 9 respectively. Whereas the numbers ending with 2, then their cube ends with 8 and vice versa, and same is the case with 3 and 7 as well. So what does this mean? Let me explain. See, if a number is like, if we want to find the cube of 1, then the ending digit of its cube would also be 1. If I am writing 4, so let me take different ink. So if I am writing see 4 here, then the unit digit of this number is also 4 and the unit digit of its cube is also 4. The unit digit of 5 is 5 and the unit digit of this is 5 and of its cube is also 5. Unit digit of 6 is again 6 and its unit digit is again what? A cube of it is also ending with 6. Then if we talk about 9, then 9, the number is 9 and if the unit digit is 9 and the cube of that number would also end with 9. If it is 0, then obviously it is ending with 0, right? But in these cases, understand this. Look at these cases. If it is 2, if it is given 2, then if in the unit place it is 2, then the cube would end with 8. If it is 8, see here, if it is 8, then the unit digit would end with 2. Similarly, if a number is 3, then its unit digit would end with 7, and if it is 7, then the unit digit would end with 3. Right? So this is what it is all about. Clear, children? Let's do few questions related to this. So what does the question says? Let's check if 1331 is a perfect cube or not. So 1331, we are supposed to take the prime factors of it, and it will be, let's divide it by 11. This gives us what? 121. Again it will be divided by 11 and 11 and 1. So it is cube of what? It is cube of, yes, it is a perfect cube. Why? Because a group of triple is formed and I can take one number from this. So 1331 is a cube. There are certain more things which I want to tell regarding this. Write it down. See, cube root of a negative, not an example. We change the ink. So, cube root of a negative perfect cube. Cube root of a negative, not a negative perfect cube, negative number, negative perfect cube. What it is going to be? See, if a is a positive number, then minus a is a negative number, and we know that minus a cube, if I am multiplying a negative number odd number of times, then I get the answer in negative terms only, like my answer would be negative only. So in same form, what I can say, see, if I am saying something like this, cube root of minus a cube, right? So how can it be written? It can be written like this. See, this is minus a cube, and how can this be written? This cube root of 3 could be written like this, 1 by 3. So 3 and 3 gets cancelled, and what can I write? I can write minus a, right? Similarly, what can I say? Cube root of negative x means cube root of a negative number, of a negative perfect cube. The cube root of a negative perfect cube would be what? It will be negative. It will be negative. Okay, means like I said that the square root of a negative number does not comes or does not lie in the set of real numbers. I told you that. So, but it is not the case in this. The cube root of a negative perfect cube, right, is negative. Right? It is negative. This is an important thing to remember. This is an important thing to remember. Right? This is an important thing to remember. Next, one more important thing is, see, if I say cube root of a into b, then I can write it like this, cube root of a into cube root of b. This could be written. Second point, cube root of a upon b. If this is given, then I can write it like this: cube root of a upon cube root of b. I can write it like this, right? This could be written. Clear, children? Let me take few example. Let's say if something like this is given. Let's say if something like this is given. So we are supposed to find the cube root of minus 2744. So what it's going to be? See, cube root of minus 2744 means what? I can write it like this: minus cube root of 2744, right? So what will that be? Minus sign would be there, and cube root of 2744 is 2744 is what? It is 14, right? It is 14. You can calculate through prime factorization. 2744 you can calculate through prime factorization 2n, so you can do that. Let us do one more question. We are supposed to calculate the value of cube root of 216 multiplied by minus 343. We are supposed to calculate its value. So what it's going to be? See, since it is negative, I can write it like this. I can write it like this: cube root of minus 216 into 343. This means what? Minus sign can come out, and cube root of 216 into 343. This could be written like this: minus cube root of 216 multiplied by cube root of 343, which could be written like this: minus cube root of 216 is 6 multiplied by cube root of 343 is 7, minus 42 is our answer here. Right, children? Minus 42 is our answer here. So this was all about square and square roots and cube roots. Next we will talk about let's say if I want to calculate cube root of 4.096, right? 4.096. So what it is going to be? First of all, I'll write it like this. See, what I'll do, I'll change it into fraction first. 4096 upon 1000. Now I'll write it separately: 4096 upon cube root of 1000, which is what? Cube root of 4096 is what? 16, and cube root of 1000 is 10. Again I can write it in the same way: 1.6. Again I can write it 1.6. Right, children? So this was all about square and square roots and cube roots. Let's talk about factors and multiples now. Factors and multiples. So what are factors? See, if you can write something like this: a into n equals to b, that means that this a is completely divisible by b. This a is completely divisible by b. It means this, right? So what can I say? If this A is completely divisible by B, that means A becomes the factor of B, and this n is some natural number. Okay, so what can I say here? A into n equals to B. A into n equals to B. So this A becomes the factors of B because it is divisible. It completely divides B, and this B becomes the multiple. This B becomes the multiple of A. This B becomes the multiple of A. Correct, children? So how I'll explain it through an example. Say if I wrote something like this, 4 into 3 equals to 12. So I know that 4 will completely divide 12, right? 4 will completely divide 12 as well as 3 will completely divide 12 separately. So these two basically becomes what? They become factors of 12 because they completely divide 12. And this 12 is what? Multiple of 4 into 3. Why multiple? Because when we are multiplying 4 and 3, it is giving us 12. Right? So this becomes the multiple. Of 4 and 3. Right, children? So these are basically two sides of a coin only. This is if this is the factor, then whatever it is multiplying with, so the product becomes the multiple. If these are factors, then the product becomes the multiple. Right? So this was basic about factors and multiples. Let me take one more example. Sorry. Say if I want to write factors of 6, okay, if I want to write factors of 6, so I'll write it like this: 1, 2, 3 and 6, right? Means that 6 is divisible by 1, 6 is divisible by 2, 6 is divisible by 3 and 6 is divisible by 6, right? Correct? Then I'm writing the factors right now. Right? I'm writing the factors right now. Let me take one more example. 8. Let's say I took 8. So 8 is divisible by 1, 2, 4 and 8. Let me take 12 as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. Right? So these become the factors of 12. Means this 12 is divisible. This 12 is divisible by all these numbers, right? This 12 is divisible by all these numbers. 8 is also divisible by 1. Means if you are going to divide 8 by 1, obviously you will multiply it with 8 and it is divisible, right? And if you want to divide 12 by 12, so obviously you will multiply with 1 and so it is also divisible. So basically 1, I can see, what can I see here? What can I see common here? That it is divisible by, like every number is divisible by 1, right? Every number is divisible by 1. Every number is divisible by 1. So if I want to write important points, about factors, so I can say every number, like 1 is the factor of every number, right? 1 is the factor of every number, right? Second important thing, what can I say? See that 6 is divisible by 6. 8 is completely divisible by 8, 12 is completely divisible by 12, means every number is a factor of itself, I can say that every number is a factor of itself, right? Every number is a factor of itself. This is the second point. Now again understand here, if I write, see, if I tell you that let's see what all factors do 6 have. 6 have 1, 2, 3 and 6. Do I have any number greater than 6 which is a factor of 6? Do I have any number which is greater than 8 is a factor of 8? Do I have any factor which is greater than 12 for 12 which is divisible by 12? No, right? So what can I see here? What can I see here? That all these numbers, right? All these numbers are basically like either the factors are less than the given number or it is equal, right? The factors are either smaller than the given number or are equal. So my next important point would be this only, that every factor of a number is always less than or equal to the number. Now again, let's see the factors again. 1, 2, 3, 6. Can I have any other factor of 6? Can I have any other factor of 6 which completely divides it? Any other factor of 8? Any other factor of 12? No. Means that I can say that every number has finite number of factors. So what can I say? That every number has finite number of factors, right? These are the important points for factors. Let's talk about multiples now. Let's talk about multiples. Let's talk about multiples. Say if I write multiples of 2, 4, 8, 10, 16, 18 and so on. Let's talk about multiple of 3. Let's talk multiple about 4 of 4. Right? And so on. So you can keep on writing the multiples. Why? Because you are basically multiplying. See, with 2 I can multiply it with 1, I can multiply it with 2, 3, right? 3 times means I am multiplying it with 1, then I am multiplying it with 2. This is basically 4, I am multiplying with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I am multiplying 2 with different numbers. Right, I am multiplying 2 with different numbers and I can keep on multiplying. Right, I'll multiply it with 2 multiplied by 2000 or 2 multiplied by 1996 or 2 multiplied by 1 lakh, or I can keep on multiplying. Right, so this number won't end. These multiples won't end because I can multiply with any number. So let's start the important properties, important points of it. So multiple of 2 is 2, multiple of 3 is 3, multiple of 4 is 4, because I can multiply it with 1. I am going to multiply it with 1 and so I get the same number. So every number is a multiple of itself. Every number is a multiple of itself. Right. Next important thing that I can see here is all the multiples are either equal to or greater than the number. This also I can see that none of the multiple is smaller than the given number, right? It is either equal or greater. So every multiple of a number is either equal or greater than the number. Right? And third point, see to these numbers, see to these examples, we can have as many multiples as possible. Right? We can have as many multiples as possible. So what can I write here? That there can be infinite multiples, means every number has infinite number of multiples. Right, children? Every number has infinite number of multiples. So these are important points about multiples, factors and multiples. Now let's see one more thing. Let me tell you one more thing. See, now we talk about factors, number of factors. Now we talk about number of factors of any given number. Okay, so let me take an example. Let's say if I write 120. Okay, and I know that every number can be written as a product of prime number. Every number can be written as a product of prime number. Right? Every number can be written as a product of prime number. Right, children? So let's write 120 also. If I want to write prime factorization of 120, what will it be? 2 to the power cube multiplied by 3 to the power 1 multiplied by 5 to the power 1. Right? This is how I can write 120 in the prime factorization form. So now I want to calculate the total number of factors. I want to calculate the total number of factors. I want to know the number of even factors. I want to know the number of odd factors. How can I know that? See, obviously if you know the total number of factors and even number of factors, so you can easily subtract that and know the odd number of factors, because even factors plus odd factors will give you the total number of factors, right? Anyways, but if we want to know all the three, like we should know what like if it is just asking about even number of factors and it is not asking about odd number of factors, then what? Right? So we need to know both the formulas, right? How we are supposed to calculate. So let me explain it through a generalized form. Let's say if there is a number n, okay, there is a number n and its prime factorization is given in this form: 2 to the power p multiplied by 3 to the power q multiplied by 5 to the power r multiplied by 7 to the power s multiplied by so on. Right, it is given like this, and p, q, r and s are the exponents, means number of times 2 or 3 or 5 or 7 are multiplied, right? And these are the prime factors. 2, 3, 5, 7 are the prime factors, right? So now if I want to calculate the number of factors, the formula to calculate number of factors is what? P plus 1, means basically what I am doing, I am adding 1 to the exponent of 2 multiplied by adding 1 to the exponent of 3 multiplied by adding 1 to the exponent of 5, then 7, and so on, right, and so on. Get it? Right. So this is how I can calculate the number of factors. This is the formula to calculate number of factors. If I want to calculate even factors, what will I do? See, which is the even factor here, like even prime number here? Only 2. So what I'll do, I'll write the exponent of it, that is p, only p, right, and I won't write 1 with it. Then I'll multiply it, then I'll write the same thing as I wrote in number of factors. What I'll do, I'll add 1 to the number of factors of 3, then r plus 1, then s plus 1. I'm just going to add it simply, and in the same ways it will go on, right? So this is how you calculate the even factors. Now how do you calculate the odd factors? How do you calculate the odd factors? See, now in odd factors what we are supposed to remember is, important thing is here, what important thing it is, that you are just supposed to take the the exponents of odd numbers, right, odd prime numbers. You are going to multiply only the exponents of odd prime numbers, which is 3, 5, 7. Means you are supposed to exclude 2. The power of 2 you are supposed to exclude, others you are supposed to include, right? So what will it become? See, it will become like this. So odd factors, I am going to do what? 3. The exponent of 3 is q. So what I'll do? Q plus 1, then r plus 1. Rest all are odd. Rest all the prime numbers are odd. So I can simply do that, and so on. So this is how you calculate even factors, odd factors, and number of factors. Right. So let's come again to 120. On the next page I'll explain it. So for 120 could be written like this: 2 to the power 3 multiplied by 3 to the power 1 multiplied by 5 to the power 1. Right? This could be written like this. So now if I want to calculate number of factors, it would be what? Number of factors would be, see, 3 plus 1. Now this time I am taking all the factors. 3 plus 1, 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1, right, of 2, 3 and 5. I took all. So 3 plus 1 is 4 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. So this is 16. So there are, in total there can be 16 factors of 120. Now if I want to calculate number of even factors, what would that be? See, for even factors, I'll take the exponent of even prime number, that is 2, which will be just 3. I'll write it 3 directly, and 1 plus 1, rest it will remain same, and 1 plus 1. This gives me how much? 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. 12. So it is easy. See, it is easy. What you will do, you can simply also calculate. 16 minus 12 would give you what? Number of odd factors, which is 4. But if I want to calculate through the method as well, so what will it be? I'll exclude the powers of even numbers, but I'll take of odd, and that would become what? 1 plus 1 and then 1 plus 1. So this gives me what? 2 into 2, which is 4. So then also it is correct. This is how you will do it. Right, children? So let me take one more example. So if I took something like this, see, if I take 1024 as my number, right? So how can I write it in the prime factorization form? 2 to the power 10 only. 2 to the power 10 only. So I cannot write any of the odd prime numbers. But here we are going to consider what we'll do. We'll write it like this: 3 to the power 0, right? 3 to the power 0, 5 to the power 0, and so on. So what does this mean? What does this basically means? If a to the power, if like in the base we have a number, any real number, and if it is raised to power 0, then it gives us what? 1. It gives us 1. The value is 1. This is an important thing, right? So if anything is power to 0, so this is 1. Basically what I am doing, 2 to the power 10 into 1 into 1 into 1, which is not hampering my actual value. So now if I want to calculate number of if I want to calculate even factors now, what are those going to be? That will be just of 2, the even prime number is 2, so what I'll do, 10, right? We'll have 10 only, right? I'll write 10, and then it is going to be what? 0 plus 1, and then 0 plus 1 and 0 plus 1, which is what? 10 only, because 0 plus 1 is 1 into 1 into 1, so this gives me 10. And number of odd factors. Number of odd factors would be what? See, I'll exclude this 2 power, and this would become what? 0 plus 1. See, the power of 3 is 0, power of 5 is 0, power of 7 would be 0. So what I'll do, 0 plus 1 multiplied by 0 plus 1 multiplied by 0 plus 1, and so on. What does this give me? 1 into 1 into 1 and so on. Which is 1. So odd factor is 1, right? Because 1024 is divisible by 1, then 2, then 4, and so on. 4 and so on. You can calculate all the 10 factors of it, right? So this is how we calculate the number of factors. Let us do few questions, or we'll do it in the next lecture, children, right? Some questions which have come in earlier examinations we'll do in the next lecture. Okay, children? Thank you so much. Bye bye.